One of the first things that I was ever told by Grady, welcome to the most honorable profession on the planet. Grady calls it the best business ever because it truly is. If the end of somebody's life, everyone else is saying, gimme, 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 you owe us this, you owe us that. You're the only person reaching back with a check.
Hi, everybody. Grady Polson. Welcome to the America Agency. I'm so excited to have my friend Jamie Cheerio. What I would love to go into now is your evolution, right? A lot of mortgage protection, right? Sold city blocks of mortgage protection, right? We sold small counties of mortgage protection, and it was an incredible run we had. But with rates rising, our company transitioned towards an equally incredible product, index universal life policies. And you've done a tremendous job at learning them, understanding them, selling them at a high level, and helping train agents on it. I love that we transition over to what you're absolutely dominating now from a sales standpoint is your love and passion for simplified issued IUL.
Yeah, I have to preface this, guys, and there's going to be a couple disclaimers here because when I talk about simplified issue IULs, I think that I sometimes tend to ruffle a few feathers of what I like to call the IUL zealots of the insurance industry because they're just a little hardcore. There's a couple of things. Number one is you need to make sure the client's in the best position possible. I am with you. We are never, ever, ever trying to screw over the client. There's also an aspect of you need to survive this business. I will die on this hill, and I don't care if I'm quoted for this. And people are like, "Oh, Jamie said that." I'm glad that I'm saying this. You have to survive in this business, and writing fully underwritten IULs, you can absolutely write some monster sales. You can chase the whales, but I'm talking singles and doubles. This is what keeps the lights on. $100 a month, $200 a month. I know some people are like, if it's not over $500 a month, I don't want the business. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I need singles and doubles to keep the lights on. So a couple of things here. Simplified issue business, number one, obviously, is going to pay us fast. Number two is it is going to get the client covered fast. But then the other thing is it's not sitting in underwriting. At the end of the day, there's a couple of things that I'm going to touch on that might ruffle some feathers. Is number one, there are some great simplified issue IULs out there, and I will debate people on that. Now, I don't want to do a live debate. I don't like getting pinned into a corner here. But at the end of the day, I think that there are some great simplified issue IUL products that are not screwing clients over. I think it's the biggest myth ever. You can sit there and you can look at a couple of these illustrations and a simplified issue, easy solve policy for the right person. Now, this is where I will kind of, start this off is if you have to talk to the client to find out what they actually want and need. If I talk to someone who already has $1 million policy and truly looking for something that is a cash accumulation policy because they're already covered, great. But if I talk to someone who has no life insurance, I talk to somebody who is the sole income provider for their family, I'm going to push for them to get more coverage. Number one, because obviously they're going to protect their family because nobody has ever complained that their significant other left them too much money. And also, that maximizes my earnings in the business as well. It's not a secret that this is a commission-based business, and we're also trying to increase our premium per household. We're trying to bring value. That's the part, is we have to be able to bring value. How can you bring value? So with an IUL, there's a lot of different ways that you can bring value. So I'll jump into a couple of the simple things that I do when it comes to IULs and how I explain it. I try to explain it simply because at the end of the day, I think about we're in a leads-based business. You guys have heard that a lot before. Who fill out forms? Do mega wealthy people fill out forms? No. Mostly middle class and lower class people fill out forms. And then every now and then, 2, 3, 4, 5% are affluent. Not wealthy, but high six figures. But multi-millionaires, very rare. Now, we've had agents who've written $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 premium policies in one appointment. Those policies do exist. They 100% do. But at the end of the day, the way that we keep the lights on, $100 to $500 a month policies all day long. middle American people. And middle American people don't need to be talked to like a wealthy individual. One of the other mistakes that I think happen is agents who have their life insurance license that have a bunch of specialized knowledge, they get excited about certain features inside of the IUL. And then they start selling to a client like they're selling to themselves. And they get really excited about this one particular in the weeds thing, policy loans and this and that. And they're like, well, this is how I would use the policy. So now I'm going to sell Miss Mary the policy on how she needs to do it this way. At the end of the day, the IUL is a very, very simple product that needs to be explained simply. So I'll give you guys the basics. So if I get on with Grady, we'll just do a quick, mock here. Hey Grady, real quick, IUL stands for Indexed Universal Life Insurance. It is a life insurance contract that you can save money inside of. Does that make sense? Yes. It's kind of like if a 401k and a life insurance had a baby. Does that make sense? Like, I know it's not perfectly compliant when I say that, but people understand simple concepts. Hey, it's like if a 401k and a life insurance had a baby. Like, yeah, we know it's not a 401k. This is a life insurance contract that you can save money inside of.
Their money can go down in a 401k and it has no death benefit and it has no living benefits. So
exactly. So we're going to talk about that. So I go, hey, life insurance contract that you can save money inside of. There's two parts to it. There is life insurance and there's cash value. On the life insurance side, you have a living benefit and a death benefit. Death benefit you've probably heard of. Death benefit, if you die, it pays out. If you have $100,000 in coverage, your wife gets $100,000 when you die. Living benefit you may or may not have heard of. Says if you become critically ill or disabled, you can have access to that money to replace your income if you can't work specifically. Does that make sense? Yep, great. So that's the life insurance. Covered if you die, covered if you become sick or disabled. Then you have a cash value. Cash value says that a portion of your monthly insurance premium is going to go into a cash value savings account that is going to grow based on a stock market index like the S&P 500. If we look at the last 20 years historically, has done on average between 7 and 10%. The guarantee is zero, meaning that it can't go backwards. So in 2008, market lost 40%. If you had your money in a 401k in 2008, you now had $60,000. If you had your money in an IUL in 2008, you still had $100,000. And then the following year, 2009, market bounced back 23%. Pretty good. Well, if you had money in a 401k, you're 75 grand. If you had money in an IUL, maybe 120 grand. Now, why did the IUL get 3% less in growth than the market? Well, this is where the insurance companies make their money. They take a few points off the top so they can afford to protect you from going backwards. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, great. So you got your life insurance, you got your cash value. Now there's three different structures here. This is the simplest way I can explain this. Grady, imagine you had $100. Okay? $100, imagine it's kind of like a pendulum. On one side is going to be called cash value. On the other side is going to be protection. You can't have both. You can either maximize your cash value or you can maximize your protection. So of that $100, let's say $80 goes towards the cash value. That means only $20 is going towards the protection. So on purpose, we are getting the legal bare minimum amount of life insurance and trying to grow the cash as much as possible. Take as much as we legally can of that $100, put it to the cash value. That's one structure. Other structure is the opposite, a protection focus. We're going to take 70 or 80 bucks. We're going to put it towards the cost of insurance, and whatever's left over is going to go towards the cash value. The goal is to get as much life insurance as possible, and the cash value is just a bonus. Then there's a third option. It's a blended focus. It's like a 50-50, where about half goes to your cash value and half goes to the cost of insurance. Now, if you go look at an illustration for Americo Mutual of Omaha, and you actually look at like the annual premium and what the cash value is going to be in the first year, it's more of like a 60-40. So it's like 60 cash value, 40 towards the life insurance. And you can explain to somebody, so somebody has a $300 premium, you can go look at the illustration and say, this much is going towards your cash value, this much is going towards the cost of insurance. And you break that down with like a simple number like 100, and it makes sense to them. And you break down why somebody might want something like that. So like, I'll go, of those three different options, which one seems to probably make the most sense for you? Probably 80% of the people I talk to, they always pick the middle option. They pick the blended focus. Then you get people who go, no, I already got life insurance. I want something that's going to grow tax-free. That's when I can start the nuanced conversation about maybe a max funded policy, start talking about level versus increasing. It all depends. Like there's certain standards there of when I would change that up. I'm 99% level, which that might ruffle some feathers too. You know, again, new people on here, don't worry about that. That's a very nuanced thing with IULs. But most people, they want to be protected. They like the idea of coverage if they die, coverage if they become sick or disabled, and they have this bonus of cash value. So when I'm talking to most people and I'm asking them questions on the front end of like, do you have life insurance? Do you have kids? Are you married? All of these things. Like I was taught that the financial inventory that we ask questions on is there for us to ask a bunch of questions, get a bunch of ammo so that I can then paint the picture of the problem that whatever we have is going to solve. So they might come in wanting something, and then I might identify something where there's a hole in the bucket. I might identify something like, guy goes, well, I want something that is going to be max funded, is going to grow the cash value. Okay, Bob, great. But you make $6,000 a month, your wife doesn't work, and you have no life insurance. And if we decide to max fund this with your $200 a month, that's going to get you $60,000 in coverage. That's 1 year worth of income. How much peace of mind do you think that's going to give Mary if you die, that she gets 1 year worth of your income? Not very much. Okay, gotcha. Let's adjust this slightly. Let's go to more of a blended focus. And look, now you're getting $90,000 worth of coverage, $120,000 worth of coverage, depending on the age, and it's the same $200 a month. Now, going off the mock interview now, one thing that when you explain to somebody an easy solve IUL, you can still explain to them how they can max fund their policy. So this is a big thing for me, is even if I sell somebody a basic solve, easy solve policy, you can go into the illustration and you can find out what's called the mech limit or the cap for the year. So if Grady wants to put in $100 a month as a 33-year-old, that's $1,200 a year. Well, for a 33-year-old, the mech limit might be $3,000. So, hey, Grady, you can put in $100 a month, but you can actually call the insurance carrier. Depending on the company, you can log into their app and you can add extra money throughout the year as you go. So you get an extra $50, extra $100. You can make a deposit or you get a tax refund. You can put it in there all the way up to $3,000 a year. That's your mech limit. Mech limit is, if you hit this number, it's going to become taxable. And don't worry, you can't accidentally hit your mech limit. If you try to give them too much money, the insurance carrier just won't let you. And then the other part is if they don't hit their mech limit, whatever they did not use rolls over into the next year. So if Grady just pays his $100 a month, $1,200 a year, that additional $1,800 rolls over into year two. So now his mech limit is $4,800 for year two and not $3,000. So one of the things that is valuable about doing it this way and explaining it this way is I have people who in this world, they cannot rely on their income. And we'll talk a little bit about budget here in a second. But I go, hey, on a good month versus a bad month, what do you think you can put in? People will say the wildest thing. Some people say on a good month, 300, on a bad month, 200. I get people who say on a good month, 1,000, on a bad month, 100. I'm like, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's a massive difference. So for me, I look at, I want to make sure that they can keep the coverage. So I would rather them put in per month what they know they can do on a bad month, and then very clearly explain to them how they can add extra money to their policy as they go. So I could sell, Bob the trucker a $300 a month max funded IUL, or I could sell him a $150 easy solve policy where if he added extra money throughout the year, he would still hit his mech limit. Difference is he's only accountable to $150 that he's not going to cancel, or I do $300 a month that he's going to cancel 4 months in. So there are people out there who are financially responsible who can, and it's also important to let them know, hey, if you max fund your policy, Bob, you can never put another penny into it. $300 a month, that's it, period. You can never, ever add extra money to this policy. So if you wanted to add extra money to the policy, you're going to have to go get another IUL. So it all just depends on the client. So that's why I'm typically leaning more towards an easy solve IUL for middle class people, because it's a simple policy. It's easy to understand. When they have extra money, they can put it in. And as long as you're a good agent and you do annual reviews with people and you keep talking to them, you can talk to them about the status of their policy and kind of remind them why you set it up the way that you set it up. So I have agents who will come behind me and they'll be like, oh, they didn't max fund it. I'm like, hey, Bob, remember the video that I shot right when we got done, recorded it, re-explaining to you if any other agent calls you and tries to you know, crap on the structure that we did here. Here's exactly why we did it, and here's our strategy. So I make sure that they have that once the appointment is over. So I try to keep it really simple. I try to put protection first, because if they don't have protection, I don't care if the money's growing at 30% a year. If you put in $100 a month at 30% a year, but you die in 2 months, the life insurance is higher than the growth. So like, I want to make sure your family gets taken care of if you don't come home tomorrow. Like, we're in the life insurance business, and IUL is a niche. And of course, if the client wants it, I'm going to, lean towards what they want. But I'm also the person who is, putting myself out there to the client as the expert. And I'm going to make recommendations, and I make pretty strong recommendations. I'm not going to strong arm them into a budget that's too high, but I am going to make a recommendation when I see there's a hole in their bucket.